Hassan Morsi. My worst date involved, it was around the time I was at university. I was going after this really, really stunning looking young lady, and she finally consented to go out with me, so I took her to a bar. Anyway, everything's going really, really well, and I ended up sort of like getting it on with her. So she goes upstairs to the ladies' room, and in the interim period, I sort of take the opportunity to text my friend who wanted to know how it was going to go. So I sort of said to him, being really sort of brash and cocky, I just sort of like went along the lines of, it's in the bag, it's no problem, la-di-da-di-da, etc. All that bravado and bull. Anyway, she comes down and she just looks at me and she goes, "You w***er." And apparently, actually what I'd done was I'd sent the text to her and not to my friend. So that was the end of my date. I just thought to myself, well, it's a fair cop.
Hi, my name is Tanisha. I've come all the way from Liverpool. My worst date, I haven't actually had a date in the past 4 years because I'm actually in a long-term relationship, but the one that I can remember and that sticks in my head is my friend set me up with this college guy. I remember his name was Martin Sheen. Martin Shine? Anyway, he picked me up at my house. He had this thick head of jerry curl, and I'm not lying. He picked me up. We were in nice Saab car. Went to a restaurant. I went to a club. We're in this club, and the club had these leather seats, and he laid back on the leather seats, and all I heard was drip, drip, drip down his top. Anyway, went out from the club and got back to mine, and we're at the door, you know, the awkward going away hug or kiss. And we're just about to say bye, but before he went in for the kiss, I went in for a hug, and his hair just sloshed all over my cheek. I was dripping with jerry curl juice. It was all down my top. I had to just run inside. I say, "Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for the date. I'll see you later." So yeah, that was the worst date story.
My worst date really isn't so much a worst date, it's more just a bizarre date. I got fixed up with a girl that I used to work with in a supermarket through a friend, and you know, I was game for it, so I said to him, "Yeah, cool, I'll meet up with her." We went to this bar in Kingston where I live. It was cool, we got chatting, she's a nice girl, we got on well. Towards the end of the night though, it did get a bit kind of weird. We just didn't really have so much to say, lots of awkward silences, as you'd expect really sometimes when you don't really know somebody. So came to the end of the night, we said goodbye, she left. The report the next day was that, yeah, she thought I was okay, you know, she'd like to meet me again. Said the same thing too. Then a couple of days later, I hear that she didn't think the date went really too well, so I thought, okay, fair enough, won't have to meet her again. Then I think it was about 2 weeks later, I was in a club in Kingston, and I saw this girl, the same girl I went out for this date with, and she was completely drunk, and I was with my friends as well. And she comes up to me and she's all, "Why haven't you called me? Why haven't you called me?" I was thinking, was I meant to call you? The report I had was that you didn't want to see me again. So that was a bit weird, and then I kind of just ran away, really.
Well, my name's Beverly, and my worst date story was when my date promised to come pick me up in a car and arrived by foot to say that we'll walk to the restaurant. So we went to the restaurant and he didn't book, and so we turned up to this restaurant. They didn't have a seat for us, so we were stuck and we had to go find another place. And 3 restaurants later, we finally found a place to have dinner. It was a beautiful seafood restaurant, and he asked me first of all, do I drink wine? And I said, no, I don't drink wine. So then he went ahead and ordered wine for me. And so that was a horrible start to the date. Then he actually ordered for me, told the waitress, you know, order whatever you want, which didn't really leave me much choice. So he ordered for me. And then out came this beautiful whole fish, steamed fish, eating the fish and enjoying the fish. And he just casually says, I always find it that I have a moral dilemma because I love scuba diving and watching these beautiful fishes, and here we are eating fish. So I had my mouth full of fish and almost choked. So there's my worst date story.
Hi, my name's Fumi. My worst date started when I went to a club with a friend, and I thought that that night I would give my number out to some people. So I gave my number out to 3 boys, and then one of them phoned me the next day. So I was like, oh, hi, how are you? And I sort of remember what he looked like. And he was the nice looking one, so I thought, yeah, I'll go on a date with you. So I met him at the station, and I called him. I said, are you here? And he says, yeah, I'm here. I said, where are you? He said, turn around. And I looked at him, and it was the wrong one. So I thought, my God, what am I going to do? I might as well go because I'm already here. So we went to the cinema to see, I can't remember what film it was. And as he was paying for my ticket, he brought out his mobile phone showing a voucher that was buy one, get one free. So we had a discount movie. After the movie, we went to Pizza Hut and we enjoyed a meal where we got different pizzas. And I said, do you want to taste some of mine? He said, yes, please. He ate half of my pizza and offered me none of his. So I was like, okay then. We went to go and pay for the meal. He brought out a buy one, get one free voucher for Pizza Hut. I thought, okay, then fair enough, he's a student, we all struggle. So we were gonna go home and I wanted to get the tube because it's easier to get home that way. And he told me he only had money for 1 bus. So we got the bus. I got on, I showed my pass, I walked on. As he walked past, the driver said, excuse me, mate, can I see your ticket? He showed his ticket. It turned out this 20-year-old had bought a child pass so we can get on the bus for £1. And that was the end of the worst day of my life.
Okay, my name's Michelle Dowler. My worst nightmare turned out to be the worst date ever. I met this guy in a bar in Croydon. It was such a nice bar. A guy was singing in a band. It was a fantastic band. I loved him so much. I just wanted to be with him and everything. My cousin and my brother was there. So I thought, yeah, let's pull this guy. He's going to be really nice. And I'll bring him home to my mum. And my mum will love him because he's in a band and he's so cool. Brought him home to my mum, which was really embarrassing because we got to know each other really well. After that, well, we had a green room after a show that I'd done. So it was, all my mum's friends were there. Everyone I knew. Brought this guy home, thinking he's fantastic, he's brilliant. What did he go and do? He was out of his head, drunk before he got to the party, showed me up in front of my mum, went and sat on my mum's best mate's lap, and we had this big canapé in the garden. He sat on this guy's lap, fell over off the chair went flying back, and the whole canapé fell down. How embarrassed was I? I just walked out. I'm not having that. It was so embarrassing. Never happen again, hopefully.
Hi, my name is Clayton. My worst date is also my first date. I was about 11 years old. I went to go and see the movie Mortal Kombat. I decided that would be the appropriate choice for a first date. So it was a couple of years ago. And I had to get my grandfather to drive me to the shopping center where the movie was being viewed, all right? And basically, I was all lippy up to the point where I actually got the girl into a dark cinema. I froze up, didn't know what to do. I ran out, went and got my grandfather out of the pub, and I forced him to come watch the movie with me. He sat about 2 rows behind me, and about halfway through the movie, I realized this really wasn't the most appropriate movie for a date. So I told the girl in the nicest way possible to go home, and I went and I joined my grandfather to watch a good action movie. And I never saw her again.
Hi, my name is Rosemary. My worst date story was I went to have a meal with this guy that I met through a friend, and it was really nice, and the date went on really, really well, and we're getting on. And then like halfway through, he got a call, and he was like, sorry, I have to go take this call. I have to go sort something out. And like he left his stuff, like his bags, his jacket and everything, and he just left me like for like 2 hours, and I was like, okay, this isn't good, And like I thought like, he didn't like me and that was why he left. But then I found out that he like actually got arrested for stabbing someone. So like I guess it was good he left, and then I didn't like go out with him since he was a murderer. So that was it.
My name is Ramesh, and I went on this date with a very fine young lady. She was I think what we had in common was we had the same music interests, and we were chatting by email and things, and I didn't really know what she looked like. But she, when we finally met, she turned out to be a goth. So she was dressed in in a gothic outfit. She had pink hair and very dark red lipstick and everything, and certainly not my type, but I wasn't to know till I met her. What I didn't even realize was she had Tourette's syndrome. And well, yeah, okay, I mean, let's laugh if you want, it's funny. And it all started half an hour into that. Everything was going fine. We were like doing the usual pleasantries and everything. And I bought her a drink, we were sipping our drinks, and suddenly she goes, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, I beg your pardon. And she was like, oh no, it's fine. And then we continued chatting. And every 5 minutes since then, she used to flick her head and there would be a twitch from her mouth, and she would say some kind of expletive. And this was in a nice restaurant and things like that. And it got really uncomfortable after a point of time. And it kind of almost seemed as if she was abusing me for having asked her out or something. However, after an hour and a half of uncomfortable shifting in my seat, I made some excuse of having to leave, and I never saw her again after that.
Well, I'm Catherine, and I went to this awesome date. It was wonderful because it was sunshine, it was on a beach, it was summer, and he looked like Tarzan with his small Speedo beach underwear. Ooh, he was really nice. And we chatted all day long, and he told me to come back the next day on the same beach. So I did, with my nice big white towel and with a couple of my friends. And we were just like chatting all day long, and he was really nice. And then my friend had this plate of chocolate, but it was totally melted. So I was like, I think it was really funny to play with. Well, okay, I was a child, almost. So I just played with it, and then my friend asked me if I wanted to come to eat something. So I was like, yeah, of course, why not? And I put the chocolate down in my towel, and I just wanted to pick up my pocket and my money. And I sat down, and it said, smash. And I looked down, and I had chocolate all over. Well, chocolate is brown, of course, so it didn't look like chocolate. And I had to go all the way from where I was down to the beach to clean my white towel with shit all over. Well, it was okay because the chocolate was really good. It was with mint, so the smell was okay.
My name's Alan, and this is about my worst date. I don't want any of you to have this worst date as I did, but there are a few names I can name. Anyways, my friends, they set me up with a blind date. Can't swear on this at the moment, but they set me up with a so-called really good-looking Italian girl, and it was outside of Hamleys. I chatted to her. She sounded nice and sexy on the phone, as they all do on the phone. I was outside of Hamleys waiting for a bit, and then I got a phone call, and she said she's walking down Regent Street. So I'm in and out the car, having a quick cigarette before she comes down to Hamleys. And as you do, you're like, I don't know about this blind dating thing. And next thing I see, looking out the rearview mirror, I see Frankenstein's bride in a miniskirt. I mean, she must have been size 20, literally. She covered the whole the rear view mirror. I couldn't see, but she ran over to the car door, passenger door, and without even asking anything, just jumped in, and the car like this, yeah. I thought, oh God, I mean, how can you take a date who is like that to a public place? You can't. Hello, I've got an image to do, yeah. Like, hello, yeah. After this, I've had to think of something really quick. She goes, we go to a bar. I said, no, I've got no money. I forgot my wallet. I'm not taking her to some place like this. So I said, well, we go for a walk down the River Thames. Yeah, no one's going to notice me. It's dark. So we go down for the walk. And she meets someone down the Thames. Oh, God, hello. And she's obviously telling them that, oh, he's my boyfriend here. No. I carry on walking a bit, yeah, and just stop. And she carries on, follows me after she's had her chat. She wants to have kisses and all this under the stars, under the moonlight. No, thank you. I don't do these things on a first date. Well, not with her anyway. But it goes on, and she forces me to give her a lift in the car, take her to where she lives. She's apparently got a boyfriend living upstairs, and she won't get out of the car until I've kissed her all night long or something. Don't know what. And I managed to get her out. Say, look, I'll give you a kiss if you come out running with me. If you come out to the corner of the car, I'll come out at the same time. So I come out, she comes out, I run back into the car, central locking on, poof, change my phone number, that's it, end of. No more blind, well, I don't know. Maybe this blind date might be different. So you guys have a good time tonight.